Good morning, everyone from Australia. It's Brigid Holder, and I am joined today by the beautiful Susanne Grant, and we are here to have a catch-up. About a year ago this time, we had an interview because Susan was in a multi-author book called Leaders, and we're here to talk about where she is now as opposed to where she was then. Susanne has been doing great. You might have seen her face around a lot recently because she's been in publications, on interviews, on podcasts, very busy, as well as supporting her clients. So, Susanne, welcome.
Hello, I'm just quickly tagging you in a post, so this also shows on your timeline. But I am doing really well. Thank you for asking. And it's been really good to catch up because, like you said, we did this interview exactly a year ago, right after I became an international best-selling author with this beauty here, Leaders. And yeah, business changed quite a lot since. And yeah, we thought it would be a great opportunity to hop on live together via my fancy software on all kinds of different platforms together. And talk about what becoming a best-selling author can do for you in a year. Because obviously I went through it. So if anyone is thinking about becoming a bestseller via, of course, your publishing company, this would be the great opportunity to see your picture painted out, so to say. And yeah, see what we can do. Did you manage to find and share, and so everyone knows we're live? Because I can see you looking at.
Yeah, I've done a share on it. I used to be able to do a watch party from a live, but it won't work, so it doesn't matter. I just shared it. I don't know if it'll work, but
that's perfect.
I can
see. I can see me flapping on my own screen. Perfect. Okay, so we're live. We're ready, and we're going on live on YouTube in a minute too. We're also on LinkedIn, so we're
all over the place.
We may not see your comments, but by all means, ask us questions, ask me questions. We'll get to it, but maybe not right now. So let's start with introducing myself. Like Brigid said, my name is Susanne Grant. I am originally from the Netherlands. I live currently in Scotland, and I am an award-winning work-life balance integration expert and an intuitive business coach and consultant, and I help busy CEOs, entrepreneurs, and conscious leaders to redefine success so they can have the success, the impact they want without sacrificing themselves, their health, or their relationships. And since becoming an international bestseller with my chapter where I wrote about my journey of the struggles with the culture where the burnout, where the hustle is promoted, and how that effectively meant to me crashing and burning, well, a few good years ago, and my way out of there, and now my own business, and
you teach other people how to bring in that work-life balance intuitively.
Yeah, and it is a gut feeling, and it's not something someone else can tell you, but it's really becoming in tune with your own harmony, effectively. And for me, it's so exciting because obviously many of us have children. The children are watching us. The next generation is watching us. And for them to see that success doesn't have to come with a mother that's completely burnt out and working 24/7 just to hustle her way to the top. You can be successful without having to ruin yourself in the process, and that really is a mindset shift that I believe the world is ready for. Because if you're talking about mental health, well-being, etc., of course 2020 and 2021 the world is kind of busy with certain things. It's been fascinating to see the shift that's already been made, but I do think we still have a long way to go if you're talking about mental health, general well-being, entrepreneurship, etc.
Yeah, so did your book come out a year ago, or is it
10 January 2020? So
yeah. So when that came out, were you like in the start of your business, or were you
no, I'm now in business for 5 years now, over 5 years. So
Yeah. So what has it done for you since becoming a best-selling author? Did you see more people approaching you for media and being able to, did it give you more exposure? How did it work for you?
Well, the way I did it, that doesn't mean there are no other ways to do it. But what I noticed is, especially with if you put it in like your bio, right? Like I said, I'm Susanne, international best-selling author. How are you? People were like, ooh, and ask you questions and stuff. And especially if you want to speak on podcasts and other platforms, there's often a requirement that you have to have something achieved, right? So they don't want absolute beginners. And I noticed it was a really easy step up towards landing all kinds of podcasts, interviews, magazines. And I don't know if you saw it, but my interview on Authority magazine just came out this week as well. And where I was interviewed about all my work. So it's just a year ago from that first step, investing in my time, energy in a book, promoting that to now. I've won one award, business award. Was nominated for the Great British Entrepreneur Award for the health and well-being category here in Scotland. Fortunately, didn't win, but no, I was in the final, so good for me.
And I think that nomination.
It's just what's the word? Snowball effect.
I think that nomination, though, is a credit to you in that this is, it's a recognition of how far you've come and the recognition of how important the work that you do is for the world. Because as you said, the world's a bit crazy at the moment and mental health is really a huge issue. And part of that is people trying to work too hard and not having that downtime. Yeah. I know, my coach always says to me, you've got to make sure you have days off. You have to make sure you have days off, because I absolutely love what I do. I could work 7 days a week, but you've got to make sure you have days off. And, when my husband
said, productivity activity is what I say.
So when my husband said in the middle of the week, let's go to the lake and take the boat and the paddle boards and have the day up there, I was like, what? No, I've got appointments. Like, I can't do that. And and then he goes, I've got to work all weekend. We should have a day. And I went, oh, yes, okay. He's my messenger for you've got to have a day off. So it's like there's reminders still drop in, but I think that it's important that people who are struggling with it, that they reach out and have a coach, because you can't have. I think it's hard for people to realize when they're stuck what's going to benefit them. Do you agree?
Oh yes, it's we have a saying in Dutch that the timmerman, his own doors hang crooked, which means that he fixes everyone else's houses but his own. It's when you're too close, you can't see your own stuff, right? So that's why I just love the whole concept of coaching, where we just help each other out to see reflective things that and grow together as a human species. I think it's a really beautiful concept to co-create these things.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. Tell me, what do you think is the most surprising for you out of 2020?
Oh, in regards to my business, or
yes, in regards to your business.
Well, I think it's for me. It mostly is that. Obviously, I've been in business for 5 years. I've had, certain interviews already here and there kind of thing. But it surprised me how just having that title of international bestselling author, how many doors that opened for me. It was like, people suddenly assume you have something to say, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't have a bestselling title. And for that to use when you say, look, I really love this podcast, I would be honored to be a guest because I think I can contribute with X, Y, Z. Or I would love to be in a magazine because this is, what I share with the world. And I see so many positive reactions just from people that say, oh my God, tell me more. And that all started with just that's seemingly simplistic, chapter in that one book. And because it really opened doors for me, and because I use these opportunities to actually apply it and go out there and say, look, I've got this book, I've got myself. Would you be interested in hearing more? And it just opened so many doors that I was told it would, obviously, but to actually see all those doors go la, la, and open up, that's of course a whole different ball game than just being told and versus experience it. So I think that's the most fascinating thing, and especially with the business award, it was one of the few awards I've ever applied for. And for them to just go within, I think, 2-3 weeks, because I've applied on the closing date, so I came across it like last minute. I was like, ooh. It was like 3 hours of typing of why my business deserved the award. And yeah, I got a message a few weeks later back saying, yeah, look, we agree. You're officially in the final. So that was just, it was just one thing after another from just the start of January, of especially public recognition. Of course, my clients love me, so I knew I knew I'm good at what I do, but for just the general public to say, look, yes, you deserve that spot in the spotlight, and tell us what you have to say, tell us more, and where can we send more traffic, what can we do for you? And there's so many people out there who want you to help you succeed, and now to be connected with the right people and the right audience, and it really allowed me to build my brand, my authority, and just to get just at the end of December, I got the award, and then also I landed an interview for an interview series on health and well-being for Thrive Global and Authority magazine, which is also going to be shared in entrepreneur.com and BuzzFeed. And once that's all done, so it's one interview that's going over all these 4 platforms. It's wow, mind blowing, right? And it all started, at least that's how it feels for me. It all started with investing in that book and coming together with all these amazing women to the book is called Leaders, Women Who Change the World Through Their Business. I don't think the title could be any more fitting of the effect it had, for me and my business, because it opened so many doors. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And I'm not done yet, so.
And no, you're not. And we're just checking in a year later. Imagine you in 5 years' time.
We should do this a yearly thing.
Yeah, that's right. So tell me, Susanne, what does a journey look like with you as a client?
Depends because I've got, of course, the different programs. You can do a strategy session with me because, like I said, I'm an intuitive business coach. So I'm really good at reading your energy and finding out patterns and things, and just giving you here's what you're at, here's where you can go, good luck. But I prefer to actually help my clients through that journey. So what we look like is, like you said as well, the first stage is the combination of knowing where you're at and then getting clear where you want to go. Because, for example, you say you love to work, and my clients, they all love to work. They all love to have an impact. They all love to be, part of that, what makes the world spin, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And the only downside is if it's costing you your health because you skip out on, for example, it's time to sleep because you feel the pressure to keep going. Or you skip your child's birthday party because there's just one thing that you still have to do. Those tiny things, right? And those tiny things over time can snowball into a big problem. So what we're looking into is that where you're at, what your energy is, what the beliefs are. So, for example, a client can have time equals money. I have to work hard for my success. I'm only worthy if I'm doing something. Yeah. So if you're talking about just being, then a lot of clients get triggered. So look, if I'm here sitting, resting, and just like you say, enjoying the lake, and I'm not being productive, so therefore I feel really uneasy and unworthy in my system. So those can all translate to either generational patterns, soul experiences. It can be from childhood where you were told, just stop, messing around, go do something. Those comments that we probably all heard as a child. But they can now show up in the way you relate to, effectively time. So energetic time management is how I then call it. So what we do in at least 90 days for the CEOs who are like at the burnout stage, they need longer term help, but usually it's the 90 days. We just look in these patterns, we shift these patterns, whether that's on a personal level, generational level, on soul level. We come up with a new plan of what they do want, how they do want their life to see, and then actually, start implementing this, whether that's, hiring more help at home, letting go that someone else can fold the laundry, for example.
Yeah.
Those triggers. I think we're all there, that it's not how you fold the towel, those things, probably know what I'm talking about because I can see your laugh. It's those things that we're allowed to let go a bit, and sometimes you don't want to let go. And if you keep wanting to fold the towels, I'll fold my own towels. It's perfectly okay. But that's what it's all. Finding your ideal work-life balance is what works for you. What do you want? What is you? Not what your conditioning wants you to do. Not what society wants you to do. Not what your culture expects you to do. What do you want on a soul, on a core level? And that's what we bring forward. And that will create that balance that actually works when you, like I said before, like rest is a productivity activity, and you can actually enjoy the downtime because you know how beneficial it will be when you're back behind your desk, because you have the inspiration, you have the clear mind, you have the, everything that comes with having enough rest. Because we all know if you're stay up all night, or 2 or 3, you're not going to be as productive if you, of course, have a good night's sleep, right?
Yeah, that's so true. I think that one of the hardest things for me was that time equals money, because I was conditioned to think, you leave school, you go to college, you get a good job, you get wages for the work that you perform based on the amount of hours that you work. And that was a big hurdle for me when I first started my work life and became the general manager of a national organization and had over 400 people working for me. It was really hard for me to think that I could leave work at 5 o'clock.
First one in, last one out. That's also one.
Yeah, that was
with a lot of managers, because I have to lead by example, so therefore I need to be the one who puts in most hours.
And the example I should have been setting was that you've got to have work-life balance. You can't be
If you look well after yourself, you will be more productive, and therefore we can perform better as a team. And you can see now that there's a lot of shifts also on HR levels, bigger companies. I know, for example, last year and a bit, so and 2019, Microsoft did a research on a 4-day work week, and they were much more productive. The health and general feelings were up, and the energy and paper costs were massively down as well, because people were they had only 4 days, so they were much more focused and they were better rested, so they were much more productive in the workplace. So there is a real demand for, but a lot of companies just don't know how then to actually do it. So now what?
Yeah. So you could work with corporations as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, as I'm from the Netherlands, we have, culturally speaking, a lot of people working part-time. That's just, for me, that's the normal thing to do. It's especially if you have young families, the dad often, we call it on a papa dag, so papa day, when the dad is off one day, the mother is one of a day, and so, they go to daycare another day, and then do both grandparents, right? So you got your 5 days covered of the week, kind of idea. So it's a really normal concept that there's that flexibility of you got your work, you got your life, and it just needs to fit. Because if you have an employee who's completely burnt out because they can't manage school runs, soccer practice, whatever is part of that whole balance thing, they're not going to be as invested in the company. And it's about time that especially larger corporations start getting that. The better their employee feels, the more invested they will be in their work and the quality that they deliver. And it's not just, you're not just a number. You're not just for you 10 others, but at least here the because in Scotland versus the Netherlands, the vibe is completely different. It feels much more like industrial revolution still, right? So it's much more still that old hardcore, work hard kind of mentality. So it's fascinating to see how even between countries, because Netherlands and the UK, you don't think it should be that big, but it is quite different already. So it's for me, having a background in history, this is what makes my heart sing, right? To help people figure this out and find something that actually works for them.
And I think the entrepreneurs then, especially the ones that start their business as a side hustle and they've got their job, they really need to consider this work-life balance, because, they really want to get their business going. So they're spending all the time that they have on the side trying to get that business going and off the ground so that they can leave their day job. But at the same time, you've got to remember that rest actually helps you with your productivity.
Rest is the productivity activity. Yes.
It sure is. Is there anything that you would like to share that we haven't got a chance to talk about this morning?
Evening, because it's late at night here in Scotland. Let me think. Well, I think I covered pretty much it. I think, for anyone who's considering and joining one of your book projects, if they want to be where I was a year ago versus now, then they should definitely check out your work and invest in themselves and in their business, and take the leap, I would say.
Oh, that's really nice of you to say. I must say that the one thing that I found, we weren't even in the same book, and I wasn't the publisher of your book. It's just that I was connected with all the multi-authors of all the books, and I love doing interviews, that I reached out to Adriana and said, could I interview the leaders? Because one of my friends was in that book. And then I put the opportunity out to everyone. And I think I interviewed 3/4 of the people in leaders. And it's so nice for me to still have that connection with people. We're still connected. You put out a message once about, it was one of your children's birthdays and you wanted to make it special. And we sent something from Australia that was an Australian book, with koalas in it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you don't get them here in Scotland.
And it was just like, oh, what a nice thing that I'm able to do because we connected through a multi-author book. And it's like, I just think that coming together, especially women in multi-author books, I'm very passionate about women coming together and, being that group of holding each other. And I think that's one of the things that I didn't expect out of the book, is that I'm still friends with people from the books I was in and from books that were within the multi-author group. With the same publishing.
I think that's the real power of what I found with these co-author books, because of course for me, from an historic concept, and of course I do a lot of around generational healing to the women. We are all survivors, right? From the witch trials, all the kind of stuff. So we are the ones who effectively ratted each other out to survive. So there's often a lot of trauma around women working together and the energy and stuff. So for us now to break these patterns completely and say, look, that's in the past, that's behind us. Let's just unite, work together, and make this world a better place. I think that energy behind it is so incredibly powerful. And if for this book, of course, this is now a year old. It's not that old, but for anything that you're of course now creating and in the future I just love the written word myself. I have a real passion for the whole history and how it relates to human and things, and especially just words, how every word you speak is made up by someone, and the words we use are from our previous generations, right? It's when you start thinking about it, it's absolutely fascinating, and to really allow each other to effectively come together and make this world a better place. I don't think there's a more beautiful way to do it than these co-author books. So for me, it's a real blessing to have so many people around me that own their own publishing house. I'm like, oh, I know that one. You should go there. And I'm happy to be alive. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's so much fun, and I do agree with you in that, you know, we're healing the wounds of our sisters of the past, and that this is just one avenue, one way to do it. So, Susanne, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, the easiest way to find me is through LinkedIn, but I know not everyone's on there. So if you look at my last name, grantmethod.com, that's my website. And I also have a free resource on there if you want to learn how to grow your business like I did. So that's the perfect way to find me, either LinkedIn or my website. But I don't think I put it in the text above the video. I will edit it. And if you can let me know your publishing details, I'll put them in there too, because then both of our details are in there. I think
I'm do everything easy. I'm just on Facebook, just Brigid Holder on Facebook, and the Art of Grace Publishing House is a closed group for all the people that are doing multi-author or solo books with me. So just reach out to me through Facebook, and we can help you get started with a book. But thank you, Susanne, for reaching out to me and suggesting that we do this catch up when the memory came up on Facebook, because I often think, where are they now? And to spend time with you has been lovely. My mum is watching us, so hi, Mum. Thanks for watching.
Is that Judy?
Yes, that's Judy. That's
my comment in my fancy software. Is hi, Mum.
And anybody else who watches the replay, thank you for watching, and thanks.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We will answer them as soon as we see the notification.
Yeah, and sorry, I've been a bit jiggly because my dogs are fighting and they run across my bed and then they jump off, and it's like, oh. Anyway,
one of those things.
Great place to do an interview from this morning. Thank you very much, Susanne.
Okay, well, everyone, see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.